s equals minus 1 plus s from 4 to infinity 1 over 1 plus r s minus 3 times r, right? I'm just copying from the thing. So that is well, what is this? This is like 1 over 1 plus r, the sum from s equals 3 to infinity, 1 over 1 plus r, s minus 4, s minus 3, right? The reason is what has changed. This. And that is, of course, r over 1 plus r times 1 over 1 minus 1 over 1 plus r, and that's r over 1 plus r times 1 plus r over r, and that's equal to 1. And so what you get is minus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 0. So the government giving you 1 unit and taking away r units for the rest of your entire life, which is infinite, is not giving you anything and not taking you anything in present value. It's 0. So it doesn't it doesn't affect your behavior in any way at all. Or it doesn't affect your present value of income. So this is not a gift. It is something that the government gives you today, but it gets back in the future, and the present value of all these payments are equal to 1, and so minus 1 plus 1. That's a surprising thing, but that's the way it is, right? Now let me put this into a bigger context, and let me move to the other whiteboard, because I hope that I will manage to squeeze this into, well, let me start on this whiteboard, because I'll need a lot of space. Now, still in the world of the infinite horizon. So this is not good. This is a good one. Now, please note that Bs plus 1 pub equals 1 plus r Bs pub, I tell you in a second what that is, plus Ts minus Gs. Now this is the public part of the net international investment position. And please note that we're assuming that this is equal to 0. The government doesn't actually spend money. It just gives away money or takes taxes. And Bs plus 1 priv equals 1 plus r Bs priv plus Ys minus Ts minus Cs. So this is the private part of the NIIP. And of course, the total NIIP is just Bs pub plus Bs priv. So what I'm doing here is the following thing. I'm splitting up the total net international investment position into a public part and a private part. So the government borrows on international financial markets and lends potentially, and private agents borrow and lend on international financial markets. And we get the total net international investment position by just adding up these two components. Okay? Now, what about consumption? Well, consumption if suppose that the whole thing starts in t going towards infinity, then this is the representative consumer's intertemporal budget constraint. Now, please note that ys is the same for all s. And by assumption, good. Now, the assumption is beta 1 plus r equals 1. You know that this means that ct equals ct plus 1 equals ct plus 2 equals dot, 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 dot. And so what we get is finally, we get ct times 1 plus r over r, right? We're just moving this out of here, equals y times 1 plus r over r minus the sequence of taxes and transfers what have I done? I have, using this assumption, I have moved consumption out of here, right? And then I have applied the formula that we've used over and over again last week. Assuming the assumption that y is the same for all periods allows us to move y out of this thing, and applying the formula we have 1 plus r over r, right? This is just, so the last thing to show is that this is equal to 0, see above. And so this means that ct equals y in all periods. Now, this looks like black magic, but the bottom line is we have the consumption path, which is flat, which coincides with, right? We can multiply by r over 1 plus r, and then we goes away. And this is exactly what we've shown up here, namely that the tax plus transfer scheme amounts to 0. So the representative consumer just consumes the income. Now, what does this apply for the current account? And here things get really interesting, and I'll move to the other side of the whiteboard. Well, how does, suppose that so this is the private evolution of net international investment position, or the evolution of the private part of the net international investment position. Now please note that, well, sorry about there should be a minus here. But this is a -1, and this is equal to y. See left whiteboard. So we get y minus y plus 1 minus y, which is y1. So the representative consumer gets a transfer from the government. What does the representative consumer do? Well, he or she saves it. Okay? Now, what does the government do? Is 1 plus r BT pub, which is assumed to be 0 as well.